Greetings everyone, my name is Resh Ramasamy. I am a university lecturer, a PhD student, a published author, and a developmental educator. Welcome to Vlog 8, Friendships, the constituents and the manifestations of friendships. This vlog is a very special vlog. I've received an abundance of requests surrounding friendships from my dear colleagues, friends, and family members. And I thought that this vlog was very timely and it's relevant to some of those issues and challenges that all of us are currently facing and combating with. So enjoy the vlog. This vlog is highly controversial, but it has its merits. There are two ideas or theories or frameworks, if you would like to call that really inspired me, as it gave me a deeper, richer understanding in terms of contextualizing friendship as a concept. The first theory is by Greek philosopher and scientist Aristotle and his theory on friendship. And the second is symbiotic relationships, that is used to study and examine the interactions among organisms and living things. So Aristotle posited three types of friendship. The first one is friendship based on utility. The second is friendship based on pleasure. And the third, friendship based on virtues. So let's talk about the first type of friendship. Now, friendship based on utility is the least loyal and the most impermanent type of friendship. This type of friendship is also somewhat on the superficial side, and it's highly prevalent, and it's typically found within organizations, workplaces, and amongst your colleagues, where two or more people or parties are working together in that friendship for a mutual gain and a mutual benefit. The essence of this type of friendship is an explicit, defined mutual gain and mutual benefit. And the friendship will only operate and function if these mutual gains are well defined, accomplished, and acquired. Here is an example. Colleague A and colleague B are typically not on good working terms, however, have been assigned a task, a shared task, and have been advised if they complete that task in a timely fashion, there will be an income bonus from the employer. So typically, both these colleagues are not on good working terms. However, they have been advised of the mutual gain being income bonuses. Therefore, both these employees or colleagues will work ever so hard to cooperate and collaborate in order to accomplish that task in a timely fashion and in order to acquire that mutual gain. Now, should the mutual gain be removed or taken away, both colleagues will probably still work together, but one might start to slack off, or they might not perhaps work at their full capacity. So at all times, this type of friendship is driven entirely on getting something out of it. Both parties must gain some type of benefit. These type of benefits are typically parallel, or sometimes they might be dissimilar. But depending on two or more parties, they will need to have established a common ground in order for this friendship to work. The second type of friendship is friendship based on pleasure. This type of friendship is determined solely based on pleasure between two or more parties. and pleasure can take shape of different forms and can vary from people to people. We all have different needs and wants. This type of friendship is also least loyal and has its impermanent qualities and characteristics. Examples of friendship based on pleasure could include 2 or more parties engaging in mutual sports, and 2 or more parties becoming friends with benefits and enjoying sexual pleasure and intimacy. So the pleasure factor is important and the governing force in this type of friendship. Third type of friendship is friendship based on virtues. This is the most loyal and the most permanent type of friendship. The governing force that determines the success and longevity of this friendship is mutual appreciation, respect, loyalty, compassion, kindness, and the list just goes on. As we all know, friendships of this type is rare in society today, and it takes time and energy and effort. Lots of us typically have friendships based on pleasure and friendships based on utility, but finding a friendship based on virtue is not that easy. It can be time consuming, it can be devastating, having gone through lots of heartaches and friendship betrayals, breakups. But it takes time, it takes energy, it takes time for you to channel those energies in the right direction, on the right people, with the right mentality, with the right approach. And trying to find people of similar or parallel values can also be challenging. Now, I'm not asking you to find someone who is just like you, because we are all authentic beings, we are individuals. But the fundamentals are important, and the fundamentals are essential in order to drive the friendship based on virtue forward. Respect, loyalty are 2 basic rudimentary characteristics that seem to have no value in society today. And these sorts of things are not there, therefore it is quite difficult to find people of high caliber and of high quality. But when you do, you are laughing and you are blessed. I have my beautiful best friend Kathy Winsey, and it took me a long time to find someone like her, but when you do, life is magic. You become magic and your friend becomes magic as well. And to complicate things even further, sometimes you can find friendships with those 3 categories or 3 clusters, where friendship based on utility, based on pleasure, and based on virtue are somewhat intersectional, and they're overlapping, and they can develop into something beautiful. But it depends on those parties. It all comes down to expectations, mutual understanding, and where the friendship is going. If we have one person with one expectation and the other person with a different type of expectation, those things will not work. I can fully acknowledge, I know people who were friends with benefits and then have married and become lifelong partners. So there are definitely exceptions, and it all comes down to the people themselves. Which types of people are interacting, for what types of reasons, intentions, motivations, and what's the end goal. It all comes down to the end goal, and we can then ascertain the rest later on. Now, let's move on to symbiotic relationships in the context of friendships. There are 3 types that I like to talk about. The first is commensalism, the second is parasitism, and the third is mutualism. Commensalism, in simpler terms, is a one-sided type of friendship where one organism profoundly benefits from the other organism, and this other organism, however, is not being helped from this organism, nor is this organism damaged or hurt. An example of this is when friends in your lives expect a lot from you, and they demand a lot from you, and they know that you can help them, and they know that you have the capacity to help them, so it becomes an expectation. And whilst they're expecting all this support from you, you don't really get impacted by their demands or expectations. It might become annoying, but you're working at your full capacity, and you're working independently, and you're working autonomously. But your friend requires your attention, demands your time, expects a lot from you. So whilst they might benefit something from you, you remain somewhat neutral. You might become annoyed or irritated, but there is no profound damage on your side of the friendship. Parasitism is one of my favorite types of friendship, and I've had lots of experience, and I continue to have experiences of this type of friendship, being an empath and a very sensitive person. Parasitisms are friends who feed off you, who suck the goodness out of you, and who are not afraid to exploit you. Friendships of this type are dangerous. Cut them off as soon as you identify those parasites in your lives. They're toxic, they're disturbing, they're devastating, they're damaging, they're demeaning, and they're dehumanizing. They suck the goodness out of you, they're self-centered, and they're selfish. There is no element of compassion, understanding, respect to you as a friend. An example of this from my personal experiences was just recently I was devastated by this supposedly friend who I thought was my family member as well. They sucked the goodness out of me. They used me. They exploited my kindness. I was essentially a cash cow to them. They knew I had income, and they knew that I can provide them with income, and they just exploited me. And it's really heartbreaking, because sometimes when you are a good person by default, it's really hard to pick out or establish or ascertain the parasites that permeate in your life, because sometimes they do put on a front, and they pretend, and they perform when they're around you, so it's quite difficult to pick out the parasites. And sometimes it gets to the point where you're completely depleted of energy, and you realize, and it can be too late. So these types of friends, watch out, be very careful, and always be vigilant. When you see red flags, trust your gut instincts, because most of the time those gut instincts will serve you well now and in the future. Mutualism has parallel qualities or attributes with friendship based on virtues. It is one of the most long-lasting types of friendship where both parties benefit from one another. And mutualism is obviously based on mutuality and has elements of appreciation, mutual respect, kindness, compassion. A good example that comes into my mind is the interactions between dogs and human beings. For centuries, dogs and humans have shared a mutualistic symbiosis relationship. We can learn so much from animals, so much from dogs. I sometimes sit back and look and observe the interactions between dogs and human beings, and I think human beings can learn from dogs. We really can, in terms of understanding the essence, the context of loyalty in its purest form. Just watch your dog, or perhaps watch some YouTube videos on dogs and the love they give to their masters and owners. So mutualism is all about mutual respect, mutual appreciation, and mutual connection. Friendships are very important in human existence, and for some of us like myself, your friendships and your friends have such a profound influence in your life than your own family members. Your friends are your family members. So be careful with who you call a friend, and be very selective in who you call a friend. I really hope you've learned something from this vlog in specific identifying, screening, appraising, and contextualizing your friendships in your lives. Good friends are really important, and good friends are not common. Look out for those friendships based on utility, friendships based on pleasure, friendships based on commensalism, and friendships based on parasitism. And celebrate, promote, and endorse those friendships based on virtues and friendships based on mutualism. On that note, I would like to wish you all the very best. Onwards and upwards. Love you all. Resh.